Welcome friends, money and financial market. Our first topic is money and banks. So what is money guys? Well, money is a matter of functions for medium standard measure and store. आप इसकी डिटेलिंग मेरे नोट्स में से पढ़ सकते हैं बिकॉज ये काफ़ी बेसिक है, हल्का फुल्का फिर भी मैं बता देता हूँ. मनी एज अ मीडियम ऑफ एक्सचेंज का मतलब है कि आप कोई भी गुड एंड सर्विस मनी के थ्रू ले सकते हैं. स्टैंडर्ड का मतलब है स्टैंडर्ड और डेफर्ड पेमेंट्स की फ्यूचर पेमेंट्स के तौर पर मनी का इस्तेमाल किया जा सकता है. मेजर का मतलब है ऑलमोस्ट एवरी गुड और सर्विस कैन बी मेजर्ड इन टर्म्स ऑफ मनी. एंड स्टोर का मतलब है कि गुड्स के कंपैरिजन में मनी को स्टोर करना विल बी क्वाइट इजी. अब बात करते हैं ओरिजिन ऑफ मनी की. वेल, हिस्टोरियंस बिलीव मनी ओरिजिनेटेड एज रिलीजियस ऑब्जेक्ट्स ऑफ वैल्यू विच अल्टीमेटली इवॉल्व इनटू अ मीडियम ऑफ एक्सचेंज. बाय द एंशिएंट बेबीलोनियन, ग्रीक एंड रोमन सिविलाइजेशन, मॉनेटरी सिस्टम इंक्लूडेड coins. After the fall of Rome, the medieval economies of Europe moved towards barter system. The feudal system was built largely on barter, with debts between lord and vassal paid in terms of goods and services. Well, thus a noble would owe military service to his lord, noble का काम ये था, and a serf would owe labor to his lord, और serf का काम था serve करना अपने मालिक को. Taxes were often collected in the form of agricultural products or labor services. So in that sense, barter था. However, barter was neither a permanent nor a worldwide phenomena. In Europe, the feudal system and the use of barter eventually diminished and a monetary economy gradually re-emerged. By the 11th century, there was a revival of trade and renewed growth of towns, and gold emerged as medium of exchange. तो आप ये भी कह सकते हैं gold को अब money के तौर पर इस्तेमाल किया जाने लगा. Well, the presence of monetary economy in Europe was not without controversy. Philip IV allegedly debased the French currency during his rule, which was from 1285 to 1314, by minting coins that contained a lower amount of gold or silver than promised and substituting small amounts of lead to maintain the weight and feel of the decreased quantity of precious metal. तो आप देख लीजिए, करप्शन तो तब से है. सोने चांदी के सिक्कों में भी उन्होंने लेड का इस्तेमाल करा और हल्के मेटल्स का इस्तेमाल करा, बेसिकली बेईमानी की. सो डिस्पाइट एपिसोड सच एज दिस, हाउएवर, यूरोप ग्रेजुअली मूव्ड क्लोजर टू द मॉनेटरी इकोनॉमी ऑफ टुडे. So types of money is our next topic. Commodity money. Well, it is a physical commodity that is used as money but also has alternative non-monetary uses as well. For example, gold and silver. अब gold को आप as money भी यूज़ कर सकते हैं और उससे जेवर ऑर्नामेंट भी बना सकते हैं. कुछ जगह तो गोल्ड के दांत भी लगवा लेते हैं लोग. Many other things like live animals, sack of corn and even huge stone wheels have also been used as commodity money. A type of commodity money in which the commodity itself circulates as money is called full-bodied money. As the term implies, the monetary value of full-bodied money exactly equals its non-monetary value. Animal pelts, for example, were full-bodied money. In contrast to full-bodied money, representative full-bodied money is paper money that represents a claim to a specific quantity of some commodity. During the early part of this century, the US Treasury issued representative full-bodied money called gold certificates. नाम से पता लग रहा है gold certificate, यानी इस piece of paper के बदले में आप gold ले सकते थे. So gold certificates were pieces of paper that could be redeemed for a specified amount of gold. For example, if the price of gold was $35 per ounce, a $1 gold certificate represents a claim of 1 by 35 ounces of gold. Anyone holding such a gold certificate could convert it into 1 by 35 ounces of gold on demand. तो ये था कमोडिटी मनी विद इट्स टाइप, रिप्रेजेंटेटिव, फुल रिप्रेजेंटेटिव बॉडी, फुल बॉडीड मनी एंड रिप्रेजेंटेटिव फुल बॉडीड मनी. अब है बेटा सेकंड वैरायटी, दैट्स कॉल्ड फिएट मनी. वेल, फिएट का मतलब होता है कमांड. So fiat money has no value as commodity and does not represent a claim to any physical commodity. Fiat money is that money, or fiat money is the money that is not backed by a commodity like animal pelts or gold, but it is valuable as money because the government says so. So token coins, paper currency, checkable deposit are some examples of fiat money. अब आते हैं जी एक मनी के अंदर क्या क्या एक डिज़ायरेबल प्रॉपर्टीज़ होनी चाहिए. सो फिजिकल प्रॉपर्टीज़ ऑफ मनी. पोर्टेबिलिटी. फॉर ईज ऑफ यूज इन ट्रांजेक्शन, मनी शुड बी पोर्टेबल. द ईजियर इट इज़ टू कैरी अराउंड, द मोर इफेक्टिव इट विल बिकम एज मीडियम ऑफ एक्सचेंज. डिविजिबिलिटी. टू परमिट ट्रांजेक्शंस ऑफ वेरियस साइजेस, मनी शुड बी मेड ऑफ अ कमोडिटी दैट इज डिविजिबल इनटू स्मॉलर यूनिट्स टू फैसिलिटेट मेकिंग चेंज. ड्यूरेबिलिटी. मनी शुड बी ड्यूरेबल, दैट इज इट शुड नॉट वेयर आउट इन यूज एंड शुड नॉट डेप्रिशिएट क्विकली व्हेन नॉट इन यूज. रिकग्नाइजेबल वैल्यू. money should have easily recognizable value, that is, it should be easy for people engaged in exchange to agree to the value of the goods used as money. और आज की जितनी भी मॉडर्न मनीज हैं, करेंसीज हैं, ऑब्वियसली दे हैव ऑल दीज प्रॉपर्टीज. The evolution of banks then. Well, soon after society recognized the benefits of using money as medium of exchange, it recognized the need for a safe place to store it. That safe place ultimately evolved into banks of today, like financial institutions that accept deposits and make loans. Banks as depositories. Well, banking existed in Babylonia and in ancient Greece and Rome. During the Middle Ages, gold and silver served as a full-bodied medium of exchange. People naturally wanted to store their specie, that is gold and silver, in a location safe from theft, fire and other hazards. तो आप आपका गोल्ड एंड सिल्वर जो कि एज मीडियम ऑफ एक्सचेंज मनी यूज़ हो रहा था, यू वांटेड अ प्लेस टू कीप दोज एज सेफ. So demand deposits. A convenient way to illustrate the operation of banks as depository is depicted in table 1.1, which is called a T account. The bank's assets are listed on the left side and liability are listed on the right side. In this T account, individuals have deposited $75 in gold, which are held in reserves in the bank's vault. Well, this represents the bank's asset क्योंकि वो आपने वहाँ पर डाल दिए हैं, गोल्ड वहाँ पे जमा कर दिया है. सो द डिपॉजिटरीज आर फ्री टू विड्रॉ इट वेन एवर दे चूज. द ऑब्लिगेशन टू गिव बैक दैट $75 इन गोल्ड टू डिपॉजिटर्स एट देयर डिमांड रिप्रेजेंट्स अ लायबिलिटी टू द बैंक. अब एक बात बताओ ना, एक व्यक्ति ने बैंक में जमा करा दिया $75 का गोल्ड, डोंट यू थिंक है तो उसका ही, ठीक है, बैंक की वॉल्ट में है, बैंक की तिजोरी में है, बट जब भी वो चाहेगा वो ये वापस मांग सकता है एंड बैंक हैज़ टू पे दैट बैक. सो इन दैट सेंस वो बैंक की लायबिलिटी बन जाता है. So the obligation to give back $75 in gold to depositors at their demand represents a liability to the bank. For this reason, even today, checkable deposits at banks are called demand deposits. So asset and demand deposit liability. Banknotes. Another innovation was the banknote, a document written by the early banks promising to pay a sum of specie, that is gold and silver, to the bearer on demand. Banknotes were issued in convenient denomination and could be used to buy goods and services. तो आपको एक तरह से वही पीस ऑफ पेपर दे दिया गया कि भाई ये एक तरह से कह सकते हो कि भाई गोल्ड सर्टिफिकेट टाइप, कि आप जब चाहो तो इसके बदले में आपको गोल्ड और जो है सिल्वर हम वापस कर देंगे जितने रुपए के आपके पास बैंक नोट्स होंगे. So today 2 types of banknotes are issued by US. The more common type is fiat money issued by Fed. Fed is obviously Federal Reserve. In contrast to the early banknotes, which were issued by private banks and backed by gold, Federal Reserve's notes are not backed by gold or any other commodity. The second type of banknote commonly used today is traveler's check. These banknotes are issued by major banks and are redeemable by Federal Reserve notes. Traveler checks भी अब काफ़ी कम हो गए हैं वैसे. The effect of issuing banknotes can be seen using bank's T account. Suppose the bank issues $25 in new banknotes in exchange for $25 in gold. तो अब मेरे बच्चों आपको वो जो टेबल है वो चेंज हो जाएगी. This increase the reserves of the bank, that is gold in vault obviously, and और आपकी जो liability है वो भी बढ़ जाएगी क्योंकि वो $25 के आपने बैंक नोट इशू कर दिए in lieu of gold. फ्रैक्शनल रिजर्व बैंकिंग. तो आजकल जो सिस्टम चलता है बेटा वो फ्रैक्शनल रिजर्व बैंकिंग चलता है. मैं जो भी आपको सिखा रहा हूँ ये कन्वेंशनल वे है. मैं अभी वीडियो के एंड में आपको मॉडर्न वे भी सिखा दूंगा फोटो के थ्रू, ठीक है, मगर अभी के लिए क्योंकि आप रीडिंग्स पढ़ेंगे तो दिस वन यू गोना फाइंड, तो इसलिए अभी हम इस पे फोकस करेंगे. सो फ्रैक्शनल रिजर्व बैंकिंग. In this function, the banks held specie in their vaults to cover all possible redemptions of banknotes and demand deposits. This practice is called 100% reserve banking, since the bank holds reserves, in this case specie, in the vault, equal to the value of outstanding banknotes and demand deposits. Under 100% reserves, banks earn profits by charging a fee to store deposit and to trade specie for banknotes. However, banks soon realized that most of the specie in their vaults was never withdrawn. भाई मतलब जिसने गोल्ड डाल दिया बैंक में डिपॉजिट कर दिया, बहुत सेल्डम था कि वो उसको विड्रॉ करता था या बहुत जल्दी जल्दी विड्रॉ करता था. It sat idle while demand deposits and banknotes circulated as money. These early banks realized that they could in fact loan out some of their reserves and earn additional profit on loans. तो गोल्ड जमा हो जाता था, उसके बदले में जो लोग थे वो ट्रेडिंग किससे कर लेते थे, वो बैंक नोट्स वगैरह से ट्रेडिंग कर लेते थे मेरे बच्चा. तो फिर इसलिए वो वहाँ पे ही पड़ा रह जाता था. तो फिर बैंक्स ने आइडिया लगाया कि क्यों ना, ये तो आइडल पड़ा रहता है, क्यों ना इसको लोन आउट करें और इस पर भी इंटरेस्ट कमाएं, इस पर भी प्रॉफिट कमाएं. सो This approach led to fractional reserve banking. With fractional reserve banking, banks held some deposits as reserves in the vault but loaned out the remaining to the people in the need of funds. अब बैंक्स को भी अपने एक्सपीरियंस से पता था कि यार ये सारा का सारा तो विड्रॉ करेंगे नहीं एक टाइम पर, थोड़ा सा ही विड्रॉ करेंगे और सारे एक साथ भी नहीं आएंगे विड्रॉ करने, तो इसलिए उन्होंने कुछ अपने पास रखा और बाकी लोन देना शुरू किया. So in fact, a bank would actually lend in the form of banknotes, issuing more such notes than there was gold in the vault. The bank would charge interest on the loan and hence had a second source of revenue in addition to the storage charges assessed on deposits. Suppose the bank decides to keep only 20% of its banknote deposits in reserve instead of 100%. Thus, for every $100 in liability, the bank decides to keep $20 as reserve beta and loan out the remaining $80 in gold. तो यही अब करना शुरू किया और वो आपको पता है राउंड आफ्टर राउंड चलता जाएगा. So now what happens to the available supply of money due to banking activities? Suppose the public has $100 of gold. With no banking, money supply was $100 in the form of gold that circulates as medium of exchange. But when banks issue demand deposit and banknotes but keep 100% reserve, the money supply in the hands of the public is still $100. It's just that gold के बदले में वो banknotes के form में और demand deposits की form में आ गया. The only difference is that with demand deposits and banknotes, the gold that used to circulate as medium of exchange is placed in a bank vault and obviously paper circulated as medium of exchange. But in contrast, consider what happens with fractional reserve banking. The situation in table 1.3 here, the money supply in the hands of public consists of $25 in banknotes and $75 in demand deposit and $80 in gold that was placed back in the hands of public when the bank issued the loan. So the total money supply now is $180 out of this $25 banknotes, $75 demand deposit and $80 in the gold. By engaging in fractional reserve banking, the bank has created $80 in additional money by loaning out a fraction of deposit in banknotes. वही 100 का 80%, 20% reserve रख के. So the story does not end here. However, the borrower who has obtained $80 in gold from the local bank is not likely to have borrowed those funds just to keep them idle. Instead, she will probably spend them. Once she has, what will the new holder of the $80 in gold do with it? If he holds on to the gold, the money supply will stay at 180. However, if he deposits those $80 in the bank's gold reserve will increase by $80 again to $100. Its demand deposits will also increase by $80 to $155, leading to this table. 100, 80, 25, 155. वही process चल रहा है round after round. So the bank is willing to lend out 80% of the value of its liability, keeping only 20% in reserve. The new demand deposit at the bank allow it to make additional loans. In particular, 80% of its liabilities of $180 is obviously 144, but the bank has issued only $80 in loans. Thus, the bank can increase its loan up to again by $64 and still have reserves equal to 20%. Mind it, 80% of 80 is 64. Assuming the bank makes this loan, तो अब आपके पास ये टेबल आ गए, ये बढ़ते ही जा रहा है और इसका भी मॉडर्न वर्जन में एंड में आपको सिखा ही दूंगा, उससे आप काफ़ी फेमिलियर है. ये वाला हमें क्योंकि रीडिंग्स में दिया हुआ है तो हमें ये एग्जाम्पल भी पढ़ लेना चाहिए. दैट्स वाई वी आर डूइंग इट. Now the bank has gold reserve of $36 and loans of $144 for the total assets of $180. There are $25 again in banknotes, $155 in demand deposit and $64 as gold that some individual holds, making a total of $244 of money supply. Note that we do not count the original loan of $80 since that loan is now included in the demand deposit. So thus with just two loans, the bank has transformed the money supply consist of only $100 in gold into a $244 money supply. This is still not the end of the story. The person who obtained the last loan for $64 in gold is almost certain to spend it, and the person receiving it in payment for goods and services is likely to deposit it in the bank. Compared with the table 1.5, demand deposit would now increase by $64 to $219 and reserve would likewise increase by $64 to $100 of gold. Thus, of course, the bank would have $244 of liability and can again loan up to 80% of those liability, that is $195.2. With $144 of loans already made, the bank can lend the remaining $51.2 while still meeting its self-imposed 20% rule. In fact, the bank can keep making loans as long as the gold eventually gets re-deposited in the bank after the borrower spends it, until the T account looks like this. So now the bank has $500 of liability, and under it 80% rule has made loans of $400 while maintaining gold in the vault equal to 20% of liabilities. At this point the bank is fully loaned out. It can no longer make a loan without violating its 20% reserve rule and thus can no longer create a money. अब अगर किसी को भी लगाओ कि ओ ये तो बहुत ही कहानी की तरह हो गया, एक छोटा सा तरीका बताता हूँ जिससे आप फेमिलियर हो। 100 आपका शुरू का मनी सप्लाई, आपका रिजर्व रेशो वॉज 20%, ठीक है, तो मनी मल्टीप्लायर आपको पता है वो 1/20%, वो 5 हो गया। इनिशियल डिपॉजिट कितना था सर? 100 इंटू 5, 500 एंड दैट्स 500। यही मैं भी आपको मॉडर्न अप्रोच जो फोटो के साथ सिखाऊंगा उसमें यही बताएंगे, पेपर में कैसे भी कर सकते हैं। However, notice what the money supply has become under fractional reserve banking. Money in the hands of public is $500, $25 in banknotes, $475 in demand deposit. Notice that all of the original $100 of gold is again in the bank vault just as it was under 100% reserve. However, with 20% fractional reserve banking, the $100 of gold in the vault creates a money supply of 500. तो ये कहानी आप पूरा देख सकते हैं। ये रीडिंग्स को हमने उसको थोड़ा सा शॉर्ट करके आपके लिए बनाया है। नोट्स में ऑब्वियसली रीडिंग्स में आपको यही मिलेगी। अब मैं आपको सिखाता हूँ इसका मॉडर्न वर्जन या इसका एक सिंप्लीफाइड वर्जन, सो टू से।